Housing Revolution short number
8.
Feudalism and Thomas Jefferson. But before we proceed, the blatant racism and inhumanity of the Founding Fathers brings many people to completely disregard any and everything the Founding Fathers had to say. Understandably so. But as millions of people in this country deify the Founding Fathers and then go on to perpetuate false narratives about the Founding Fathers in order to warrant the current status quo, beating these people at their own game by utilizing objective source documentation to disprove their false narratives is a powerful strategy, so please stay with me. A couple of years before the Constitutional Convention, Thomas Jefferson penned a letter to James Madison with some of his thoughts about land. We're going to go over this passage. This letter is in the archives. I've put the web address to it in the description below. So let's go through it. Jefferson writes, "Another means of silently lessening the inequality of property is to exempt all from taxation below a certain point and to tax the higher portions of property in geometrical progression as they rise." Welcome to Thomas Jefferson's geometric property tax. This was a means to remove the economic incentive from hoarding land. Depending on the exact terms, it would have limited the number of properties one person would want to own from several down to even 2 or maybe 1. Now, while I don't personally see taxation as an effective means to stop property inequality, this passage does show us that property inequality was a concern of Jefferson's. He already saw the potential for the new feudalism. He saw the potential that one day we could have feudalism not via the crown, nobility, or government, but via private citizen, which is exactly what we do have today. So then he goes on, whenever there is in any country uncultivated lands and unemployed poor, it is clear that the laws of property have been so far extended as to violate natural right. The earth is given as a common stock for man to labor and live on. If, for the encouragement of industry, we allow it to be appropriated, we must take care that other employment be furnished to those excluded from the appropriation. If we do not, the fundamental right to labor the earth returns to the unemployed. It is too soon yet in our country to say that every man who cannot find employment but who can find uncultivated land shall be at liberty to cultivate it, paying a moderate rent, but it is not too soon to provide by every possible means that as few as possible shall be without a little portion of the land. The small landholders are the most precious part of a state. Just like Madison at the Constitutional Convention, this was by no means warranting any version of feudalism, old or new. On the contrary, ensuring that everyone had land was an integral part of Jefferson's vision for the country. And it was his view that if there were those that were not included in any land appropriations, they should then be guaranteed either employment or access to cultivate the land. While yes, we are no longer an agrarian society, Jefferson's words and vision are just as relevant today as everyone still needs land to live on, and anyone wanting to run their own business still needs land to run that business on. So once again, anytime you hear real estate investors waxing patriotic and citing false narratives that the land hoarding, equity stealing rentier class and the perpetually dysfunctional land and housing system they have brought about are somehow in alignment with the Founding Fathers' vision for our country, don't fall for it, refute it. Show them the documentation. So for a more in-depth, slightly circuitous discussion on this passage, check out my YouTube channel and watch Feudalism and Thomas Jefferson's Plan to Save Us. On tap in the next video, Lincoln proposes his solution to the neo-feudalism whose negative effects were by his time already plaguing average Americans. And I gotta say, old Abe was on it. His solution provides the foundation from which any meaningful, serious, and effective transformation of our perpetually dysfunctional, hyperinflated land and housing system into a highly functioning, equitable system that affordably houses everyone must rise. So please, check it out.